Here we have a white bean. Now, exactly what type it is, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. The principle's all the same. Basically, we're not going to quibble over these tiny little details. You have to soak them for 12 to 24 hours. So I soaked these for 24 hours, and now I'm going to simmer them. And what I'm serving it with is sort of a braised dish. I'm going to cook off some pork and also various vegetables, and then I'll add in my white beans to sort of finish everything up. And there'll be one of the vegetables is going to be kabocha squash, which is a Japanese squash. That's going to be one of the primary ingredients of this dish. It's got a nice sweet flavor. But on the beans, I mean, those little details for gourmets makes a big deal, I guess. If you're a restaurateur or you're a chef, you want to know those little details, exactly what type of white bean it is. But for my purposes, it doesn't matter whatsoever. I'm not going to not cook it because I don't know precisely what type of bean it is. Bottom line is beans, lentils, pulse of any sort, you got to soak them for half a day to a day. So why not make it a day, and then you're going to be safe. Pork shoulder steaks here, basically. Extremely inexpensive, very thrifty cut, and I love pork shoulder. It's got a nice amount of fat in there that makes it cook up beautifully. Just a little bit of bone, and so I've removed that bone. I'll use that bone for a pork stock, and I'm cutting these pieces rather big, probably 2 inches by 2 inches, and I'm going to caramelize them, get some nice brown color in my cast iron pan, and then I'll flip them, and then they'll wind up moist heat cooking for maybe 45 minutes in my, call it a stew. It's a braised dish, and that's what a stew would be. Here is the squash. So this actually is not probably is not a kabocha squash, but it's a very similar squash. It's quite dry and sweet. It's going to work very well with this dish, with the white beans and the pork and the other vegetables. Pay close attention to the hand positions, how I take the skin off of the outside. You want to have a really firm grip on this because it's not that easy to slice just the outer layer off of the squash. It's quite hard, so you got to grip it tightly with your left hand and get your knife underneath the skin right away. Make sure that you don't have any fingers getting in the way of the knife, because it's you have to apply some pressure, I guess is what I'm getting at. I'm not going to cut this squash into very small pieces because it's going to cook for a fair length of time, and if I cut it too small, then they're just going to dissolve. It breaks down quite a lot anyway, but to prevent it totally dissolving, I'm cutting it into larger pieces, probably 3 inches by 3 inches. Because I browned the meat in the cast iron pan, I want to get all the brown bits off of the bottom, so that's why I added my onions in and also my carrots. Here's our beans, the white beans, they're cooked. And here's a chicken stock. We're going to use chicken stock as opposed to water. I mean, you always have chicken carcasses if you purchase whole chickens and butcher them yourself. So make the stock right away. Either freeze it in the stock form or use it straight away in dishes. So I've added in all my ingredients, all my vegetable ingredients, sorry. I have some potatoes, and obviously the onions are in there, green onion also, and the squash. This is potato that I'm using to thicken the mixture. So I've taken a raw potato and I'm grating it, and I'll stir that into the mixture, and that starch will thicken it up, thicken the soup as it cooks. Actually, those pork bones are right in there, so I added the pork bones in just to sort of enrich the broth. And why not? I mean, you paid for it, so utilize it, get the flavor out of it, get the nutrition out of it. That's what you want. This is a very rustic, simple dish. Added in a little bit of parsley, Parsley is quite healthy. It's supposed to be very good for your lungs. And basically we'll ladle it into a large bowl and serve it in the center of the table. Extraordinarily inexpensive, serves a lot of people. Nice balance of protein and also protein in the beans along with the vegetables. It's very healthy and thrifty. I put a little cabbage salad on top just to give it some crunch, and I think your guests will enjoy this dish very, very much. And you can play around with it. No matter what, it's thrifty and tasty. Enjoy.